So I'm first, huh? Well, that means everyone who follows me is gonna have a hard time. Don't regret it, haha. Huh? The phone's ringing. Hold on. Hello, this is Sanada. Ah, it's you. What's up? Oh, come on. You can decide for yourself if that's all. Yeah, that's fine. You should do that. Alright, well, I'll be back tomorrow. Sorry. They always need my help with everything. I want to tell them I'm a producer, not a babysitter. Haha. Alright, let's continue the story. The picture quality of TVs sure has changed a lot recently, huh? You've got satellite transmissions, special cameras and such. The technological advancements we've been making are amazing. Especially CG, or computer graphics, which we use like it's no big deal anymore. It's a world of science and technology that seems to have nothing to do with spirits or demons. But the story I'm about to tell you is about how they still lurk there too. Like the stories of ghosts lurking in pianos or glass mirrors. The sort of items you find in regular ghost stories these days were also new technologies once. So if you think about it that way, it's really not that strange. About 1 year ago, the program I'm working on also started using CG. It was to restore a painting from the Renaissance by an unknown painter. Many people quickly assume that paintings by unknown painters are trash, but most paintings aren't kept in good conditions over the years. Using infrared light, X-rays, and other modern techniques, we can analyze what's left of the painting, and with CG, we can reproduce what it would have looked like at the time. And this is the selling point of our program. So, when we X-rayed this painting to restore it, we found another picture hidden behind it. Now, this wasn't especially rare, because materials at the time were expensive, and sometimes the image of what you were painting might change and become something entirely different in the end. But it appeared that this hidden image was done on purpose. And of course, I don't think they thought that later generations would be able to see it. Yoko-chan, what do you think was hidden behind that picture? It was rather unexpected, so try to guess. A goddess. Haha, too bad. Although, we certainly would have been happy with that too. But in reality, a terrifying picture of a witch was painted beneath it. But witches were common in the mannerism style of the time, so we didn't think much of it. But for him, it was the beginning of a nightmare. At the time, a man by the name of Kazama Nozomi was in charge of CG. Once the data analysis was complete, he displayed the picture. But when the picture appeared, he trembled and went pale. This is... He was shocked. What on earth? I said as he trembled. He finally came back to his senses, and with a trembling voice said, Yasuaki-san, for such a terrifying picture to be hiding here. What on earth is going on here? I asked, and he faltered. A silence fell between us, and then, suddenly, Kazama deleted the graphic on screen. This is a monster, he said. It seemed he knew something about it. I took him to the couch in the corner of the room, and then we sat down. Kazama trembled as he looked at the table in front of the chair, but he seemed a little less pale than before. I crossed my arms and waited until he calmed down. After a moment, he seemed to regain his composure, and then he spoke. "I've seen this monster before. Yeah, when I was in elementary school. I grew up in the remote countryside of the Tohoku area. Nozomi, be a good boy and look after the house while I'm gone," my mother said before going shopping. "Okay," I answered adorably. With my mother gone, the house looked bigger than usual, and it was eerily quiet, so I played to distract myself. I played with the car my grandfather bought me that made noise. It was my favorite from the many toys I had. Then, as I played alone to pass the time, suddenly a door opened and a chill ran down my spine. I prepared myself for what was about to happen. I finally turned my stiff neck and stared down the hall behind the door. The sound of footsteps in the hall echoed in the silent house, and that sound was gradually getting louder. Then I saw a figure appear in the dark as those footsteps got closer, and that figure stood in the doorway. It was that monster, and remembering what happened after that hurts. A sad, pained look appeared on Kazuma's face, and as I prepared myself for what he was about to say. However, he refused to say any more, and continued to tremble. But then, the door to that floor opened. "Grandma!" Kazuma screamed and stood up from the chair. I later heard from her that when he was a child, Kazuma was a bedwetter who often got in trouble. This went on daily, and, before long, he apparently grew afraid of his grandmother. Well, in the end, that picture turned out to be nothing more than a coincidence. But coincidences sure are terrifying. Sorry, that wasn't very funny, was it? Haha. Okay, next person, you're up. Haha.